What up, people? Mike Steph here for another edition of Mike Steph's WrestleMania Memories. We're currently up to WrestleMania 31 that emanated from Santa Clara, California, home Levi Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers, the year 2015, the main event. And this is a historic event based on what we know now. The main event was Brock Lesnar, defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against newcomer Roman Reigns. Yeah, this is Roman Reigns' first appearance in the WrestleMania main event scene. He has main evented going into this year. Has it been 9 or going on 9 main events since 2015? And this was the first. Also, we had the never before seen, never before happened match. Yeah, I know that makes no sense. Between the cerebral assassin, Triple H, defending the honor of WWE from, at the time, almost 20 years prior, the Monday Night Raw Wars against WCW's interloper and WWE Hall of Famer, Stern. And you want to know why I said Stern? Because for some reason, you know what his nickname was when he was in WWE? Stern with the vigilante. I swear, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Stern the vigilante. Yes, that was a marquee match. And then we had other matches. But I'm going to start with the main event and I'm going to work my way backwards because from my recollection, and I know it's only been 11 years ago, but from my recollection, this was the second WrestleMania that happened exclusively on the WWE network. It was actually the beginning of the quote unquote network era, which gave way to the reality era, I believe, which, if you know what's going on in current day WWE, is more apt. That title is more apt than you would really realize. But either here or there, we're talking about back in the day. Memories. From my recollection, this WrestleMania was funny because I was all set, spend my own Sunday watching WrestleMania, watching WrestleMania with the family, watching WrestleMania with the boys, my sons, Nakai and Mikey, and Mia probably would have been running around somewhere, but Nakai and Mikey, and it just coincided with a day that I was supposed to take Main Event K to the movies. I thought it was a foregone conclusion. We was going to do it the following Sunday. No. Mrs. Ooh said, weren't you supposed to take Kayla to the movies? I'm like, I thought we were going to do that next Sunday. You promised us this Sunday. But it's WrestleMania. Okay, and WrestleMania is more important than your daughter? No. So, yeah, got school tomorrow. And like I said, this is just based on my memory. So I forgot what even movie we went to see, to be honest. It's 11 years ago. And your boy, Mike Steph, lived the life back then. So my memory is kind of shot. But regardless, well, short-term memory, you know. Anyway, so regardless, we went to the movies and had a good time. You know, at least my daughter had a good time. And I came home and I actually got home right in time for the main event. Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns was in the middle of his initial push down everybody's throat. He had won that year's Royal Rumble against the fans. The fans chose Daniel Bryan. The fans wanted Daniel Bryan to return from injury and to reclaim his spot as WWE champion in the main event, but that was not to be at all. So they made a point to supposedly have Roman Reigns deserve and earn his spot in WrestleMania by putting his WrestleMania spot on the line at a new WWE main event. I mean, new WWE pay-per-view called Roadblock. Was it Roadblock? I think it was Roadblock. And against Daniel Bryan, and beat Daniel Bryan 1-on-1. So therefore, he would be solidified. He would have no other wrestler lay claim to the fact that they deserve to be in the WrestleMania main event, because not only did he win the Royal Rumble, he defended said spots, which was a good match. I mean, I want to say that was probably the best singles match up until that point of Roman Reigns' career, because Daniel Bryan is going to make everybody look good. And Roman Reigns did show that he had the capacity to hang, which is a very underrated part of being a main eventer. You might not have to be the most technically sound wrestler, but you do have to hold your own. You do have to carry your weight. And that was the first instance in which Roman Reigns, as a single competitor, carried his weight. This was also around the time in which Vince McMahon, for some reason, I mean, we look at it knowing now, but this was gray eye era Roman Reigns with the contacts. Why? I have no idea. But that was it. That was the thing. Now, Brock Lesnar was coming into this as the monster, as the person, the mountain that needed to be climbed and overcame. He ended the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania 30. He dominated and squashed John Cena at the 2014 SummerSlam event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He beat both John Cena and Seth Rollins, who we will be talking about very shortly at the Royal Rumble in the triple threat match. So he was coming in on a roll. And the beginning of this match, and I'm going to let you know, because I am a man of virtue, I'm a man of honesty, I'm a man of respect. This match in particular, because it's that time of season that on YouTube they start doing retrospectives about WrestleManias and WrestleMania matches and memories and stuff like that. So I just happened to see this match not too long after. I actually saw this match a couple of days ago. And the beginning of this match was almost, because at this point in time, Brock Lesnar still had that UFC aura to him. So everything that every time he came into the ring, it was real. It was authentic. It was big match feel. It was big event feel. Box office feel. And the way they started out this match, they were literally going back and forth at it, and Roman Reigns held his own, gave Brock a little shiner, made Brock start leaking for a minute. And you could see on Brock was like, okay, all right, this is what we're going to do. Let's see how much you can hold. Let's see how much you can handle. And Roman Reigns ate the majority of the beginning of this match, as in he ate a complete butt whooping. But the story of it was, I can and I will. I can overcome and I will overcome. And everything that Brock Lesnar gave, he received, he smiled, he laughed, he said, bring more. Brock Lesnar gave him about 10 suplexes. This was the genesis of Suplex City. Going to Suplex City, beat. He gave him 2 F5s. He kicked out. And it was a battle. It was a battle, because this is before Brock Lesnar started having these 5-minute matches of nothing but kickouts and finishes and suplexes. He actually wrestled. But as you can see in this photo for my YouTube video, YouTube viewers, he had been in a battle. He was bleeding, and at this point in time, WWE did not allow bleeding. But Brock Lesnar had his, had his rules of his own. So, what makes this an unbelievable match? What makes this a memorable match? Because even though it started out as Brock Lesnar defending his championship against the newcomer Roman Reigns, it ended with Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank contract and beating Roman Reigns to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And he embarked on a reign that lasted for about 6 months before a knee injury in a house show ended that reign. And the following year came back as a babyface, even though he never really got traction because he kind of got kicked out of the Authority to a certain degree. To a certain degree. But neither here nor there. This was the beginning of Seth Rollins' run as a main eventer. And he has been a main eventer for the last 11 years. Yeah, I know this time he's taking a dip, but he's taking a dip in the background, not to be a mid-carder, just to be on the periphery of the title scene. But he solidified himself as a main eventer by having the heist of the century. Now, in other matches, the other marquee match, Triple H defending the honor of WWE along with DX, meaning the New Age Outlaws, and X-Pac against Sting, the Vigilante. Sting made his debut at the 2014 Survivor Series in an elimination match in which, if the Authority lost that elimination match, they would have to disband. And Sting made a point to help Team WWE beat the Authority, to help Dolph Ziggler become the lone sole survivor. And of course, maybe about a week later, the Authority got back together and all that was null and void. But that stuck. That was a sticking point to Triple H. He wanted to get revenge over what Sting had done, which was stick his nose in business that he did not belong to. So they call him the Vigilante. The Vigilante. They had promos in which you would see pictures of Sting, and supposedly he would have to. They voiced. I guess his voice wasn't manly enough for Vince, so they had to make him sound like this. I remember around that time, I think for Christmas that year, my son Mikey, Chef Mix, he had got me a Sting T-shirt, and literally on the T-shirt it was T-shirt of the Vigilante. So I remember every time I put the T-shirt on, I'm like, I'm a Vigilante, the Vigilante Sting. I mean, this was almost akin to back in the days with Black Scorpion. Like, I know Sting probably was like, darn, y'all really borrowing of something that's like, ooh, at that time, 15 years old. Because what? The Black Scorpion was 1990 in WCW, NWA, WCW. And the Black Scorpion ended up being Ric Flair, even though it was supposed to be Al Perez. But Al Perez was like, nah, I unmasking. So it ended up being Ric Flair in his attempt to get back to NWA World Championship. And he failed at what was it? Starrcade 1990 Future Shock, if I'm not mistaken. And then he beat Sting in 1991 in the Meadowlands in a house show, nevertheless, to become NWA champion for the record-breaking 7th time, and also becoming the inaugural WCW World Heavyweight Champion. But we're not talking about WCW memories. We're talking about WrestleMania memories. So, he was a vigilante and he lost. Why did he lose? Well, because he got help from the NWO. Yeah, that's right. The man that was the antithesis of the NWO, the NWO black and white. We're talking about Hall, Nash, and Hogan. They came down to help Sting against the home team, DX, in 2015. And yes, like I said, Sting lost. So Sting had how many matches? I want to say Sting had 2 matches in his WWE career, and he lost both of them. And people want to know why he decided to go on a 4-year run at AEW in the 60s, because that was to correct and make sure his legacy was upheld by people who actually respected his legacy, not somebody who thought his voice sounded a little weak, and he had to be pegged as a vigilante. Now, this WrestleMania was the debut of Ronda Rousey, not in an active role, but this was the debut of Ronda Rousey to the WWE audience in an angle that was supposed to end up with The Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. We did not get a payoff to this angle until, when was it? I believe WrestleMania 34, in which it was Triple H and Stephanie McMahon against Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. Yeah, that's right, Kurt Angle. Rock was nowhere to be found. But this was the debut of Ronda Rousey, and we will talk more about Ronda Rousey when she makes her official debut on the WWE roster in a couple episodes. Daniel Bryan. Yeah, the Daniel Bryan that came back at the Royal Rumble after being gone for X amount of months and having to relinquish his WWE Championship. Yeah, that Daniel Bryan won a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. A ladder match that consisted of Luke Harper, John Huber, the late John Huber, also known as Brody Lee, Dean Ambrose, also known as John Moxley. I think Bad News Barrett was in this, if I'm not mistaken. Whole gamut of wrestlers, and Daniel Bryan won the Intercontinental Championship, and everybody thought this was going to be the beginning of another run of Daniel Bryan, and then unfortunately he had to give up this championship due to injury, and early next year, early in 2016, had to announce his retirement, albeit it was only for a couple years, but at the time he was forced to retire due to the reoccurrence of injuries. John Cena against Rusev. Yes, Rusev. The most important part about this match, besides John Cena winning the U.S. Championship, officially being firmly entrenched, quote unquote, into the mid card, but also elevating the U.S. Championship through his United States Open Challenge throughout the year of 2015 and giving multiple competitors a rub. And I don't say that facetiously. No, he did give them a rub and also helped get his credibility up with the hardcore fans, and actually was on the road to becoming the beloved figure, albeit besides this ill-fated heel run that he had in 2025, but becoming the beloved figure that everybody loved and respected. But like I was saying, the best part about this match was the story behind this match, which was Rusev and Lana actually doing the nasty in the tank prior to the WrestleMania entrance. Yeah, that's information we needed. And lastly, in what was, I guess, supposed to be like a passing of the torch, so to speak, You had The Undertaker making his first appearance since losing at the previous WrestleMania, facing Bray Wyatt, who was the self-proclaimed at the time new face of fear. Yeah, that was the mode that he was in. He was in the new face of fear mode. And The Undertaker, of course, wasn't going to lose 2 in a row. He wasn't going to lose to the Dirty Wizard. And yeah, so Bray Wyatt once again, high-profile match, and he comes up short, which seemed like it was an ongoing narrative in these years in his prime. So, yeah, that, my friends, is the end of Mike Steph's WrestleMania Memories. WrestleMania 31. Stay tuned tomorrow for the next installment, which will be WrestleMania 32. And you know what's so important about WrestleMania 32? I will tell you. We have women. Yes, we have women in a marquee spot. So, with all that being said, I'm going to get out of here because I got to crank these out. I got 10 more to crank out in about 4 days. So, I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, till tomorrow. See ya.